Thaler, Chief Baker, and both Chief, you're from the U.S. Forest Service, you're from Tahoe Douglas Fire Protection District,
right.
both representing the Tahoe Fire and Fuels team. Thanks for joining me this morning.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. What is the Tahoe Fires and Fuels team?
Well, it's a group of local, state, federal, tribal, and some bi-state organizations that was basically formed after the Angora fire. Both governors of California and Nevada put together the Blue Ribbon Commission, the report on how can we do things better? How can we not have this happen again?
Yeah.
And out of that came the Tahoe Fire and Fuels team.
Okay, perfect. And it sounds very collaborative of region-wide agencies.
Like Chief Baker said, there are 21 organizations that are working together.
Wow.
And we have basically a dual purpose. One is to reduce the fuels around the Lake Tahoe Basin area, starting with primarily the wildland urban interface areas, so the areas right in the communities.
Okay.
And then part two is to make sure that everybody in the communities is prepared for when and if something else does happen.
Yeah.
So that's creating defensible space around properties and also making sure that homeowners have their homes prepared for when a fire does come through.
And one streamlined message, which I have to say you've done a phenomenal job with over these past several years. The 2019 fire season, I mean, I know now it is like a 12-month season, fire season. How was it cumulatively looking back at this past year?
For the Forest Service, we typically have, in the basin, we typically have 40 to 50 smaller fires, and we were very fortunate this year to have been able to keep those fires small. And part of that is just, once again, the collaborative effort of all of the local, state, and federal, like all of our resources working together. So when we do have a fire call, it doesn't matter whose land it is on. We don't know that it's Forest Service. Regardless, whoever is the closest fire engine or whatever resource, we all respond. Last year, so on the Forest Service last year, we had 27 fires in total, and with everybody's support and response, we were able to keep all of them under a quarter acre. 26 of them at a tenth of an acre. So we prepare, we have pre-attack plans, and that is our main goal, to respond to them quickly and keep everything small so that, once again, yes, just so it does not impact
Yeah.
So when the Tahoe Fire and Fuels team was formed, there weren't all these buzzwords like wildland urban interface and bi-state commission.
Yeah.
So it's not just the fire community. We've got the resource conservation districts and planning from tribal and the Forest Service and the local districts. So a lot that's been done in the WUI, the fuels reduction that everybody talks about. They don't really know what that means. That's half the battle. When we remove the hazards that would happen in the fire, that's why you see all the smoke columns right now, because we can burn in the wintertime safely.
Yeah.
And then in the summertime, when we have these big fires, we don't have to fight as much, like Carrie was saying. We have groups from Forest Service will come in from all over the region, and we have Nevada Division of Forestry that comes in with crews, and then each of the 7 local fire departments have their crews as well. So it takes out half the battle right off the front end of it.
Right. Being preventative. What can we look forward to looking ahead?
We can look forward to, just one other piece is just continued education and information to the public.
Right.
And I think you mentioned just there are so many different organizations or people helping out. For us to have a message that speaks the same thing, and then for those in the communities that may not know exactly what we're saying, for us to go and assist them and help them know what defensible space is and create it. So we will up that. We would also like to double the acreage that we actually did do, that we completed this year, that we treated for hazardous fuels.
Nice.
And doing that, we basically have some larger scale projects that we have planned that have already started. So coming up next year, we have one called the Lake Tahoe West. Lake Tahoe West, which is 60,000 acres on the West Shore. And then we've been entering into agreements with our partners such that we can do hazardous fuels reduction across boundaries and across landscapes. So it's not just the Forest Service treating treating fuels on the Forest Service lands. It's us doing them across boundaries.
Nice. Hey, you know what? We are out of time. We
All
need to
right.
keep talking about
Fire
this.
adapted communities, get on the website.
That's
Yes.
right. Fire
Help us out.
Adapted Communities. The website that you can get, the website though is TahoeLivingWithFire.com.
Correct. And you'll see the fire adapted communities links, the prescribed fire links, and the Tahoe Fire and Fuels links as well.
Excellent, excellent. Great information and huge kudos to all the work. I mean, you're talking about this and I'm thinking about the budget and the communication and the branding that goes into getting one message across to you, our viewers, and the public out there, citizens of this area is awesome. So monumental feat. Good job.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
letting us
Keep up
bend
the
your
good
ear.
work. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
We'll be right back.